Today, we are diving into a story about AI's incredible, almost insatiable hunger for energy, and a solution so radical it sounds like it's straight out of science fiction. This is the story of what might just be AI's great migration. And no, this isn't some far-off future problem. Right now, the AI revolution is burning through energy at a rate our planet is really struggling with. It's a crisis that's happening mostly out of sight, in these massive, anonymous data centers all over the world.
And right in the middle of this growing crisis, one person threw out an idea that honestly made a lot of people laugh. Just a single sentence from Elon Musk. But, as we're about to see, the engineers and the economists, well, they've definitely stopped laughing.
So, let's start by just trying to wrap our heads around the sheer scale of this problem. Just how big is AI's footprint here on Earth, really?
Okay, this number is just staggering. Tech giants like Google and Microsoft, they're projecting that by 2030 they're going to need 3 to 5 times more power than they use today. And that demand is almost entirely driven by AI. To put that into perspective for you, training just one single large AI model can use as much electricity as the entire city of Las Vegas consumes in a month. It's just massive.
And if you look at where all that power is actually going, you'll see something pretty wild. A huge chunk of it, we're talking around 40%, isn't even for the computing. Nope, it's just for cooling. It's just to stop the servers from literally melting down. The rest is split between the GPUs doing all the heavy lifting and, of course, the ever-growing need for data storage.
So here's the crucial point. The real takeaway from all this, we are actually reaching a physical limit. At the rate it's growing, AI is simply becoming too big for Earth's resources. The planet itself is becoming the bottleneck. And this brings us to the core of this whole wild idea. If Earth is the problem, maybe the solution isn't on Earth at all.
This quote really gets to the heart of Musk's logic. He looked at the two biggest problems, cooling and power, and basically said, hey, these are Earth-based problems, so the logical next question becomes, why not just change the location? Well, let's break this down. First, the cooling advantage. Here on Earth, it's a constant, incredibly expensive battle against heat. But in space, the background temperature is minus 270 degrees Celsius. It is a perfect, natural, and completely free heat sink. This one thing could eliminate nearly 40% of a data center's energy costs, just overnight. Okay, next up, power. On Earth, solar power is, well, it's intermittent. The sun goes down, and it's weakened by our atmosphere, which blocks up to 40% of its intensity. But in orbit, you get unfiltered, 24/7 sunlight that's over 3 times more powerful. It's a constant, truly limitless source of energy.
And then there's the security angle. Data centers on the ground are vulnerable to everything. Natural disasters, terrorism, you name it. But a data center whizzing around in orbit? It's almost physically impossible to attack. You combine that with encrypted laser communications, and you could be looking at the most secure data storage system ever built.
So, to just sum it all up, the case for space is pretty compelling. You're talking massive cost reductions in cooling and power, a zero-carbon footprint, security like nothing else on Earth, and because space is, space, you have truly unlimited room to grow.
Now, having an amazing idea is one thing, but actually making it a reality, that's a whole other ballgame. And it turns out, one person is in a very, very unique position to actually pull this off. See, building this isn't just about having the right idea. It's about owning the entire supply chain. You need cheap, reliable access to space, which is exactly what SpaceX's reusable rockets give you. You need a way to get all that data back and forth from orbit, which is what the Starlink satellite network is already doing. And, of course, you need world-class solar and battery tech, which is Tesla's whole deal. This isn't just a random collection of companies, it's a vertically integrated monopoly on the exact infrastructure needed for this entire concept.
And that right there is why industry analysts are taking this idea so seriously. It's not just some random futuristic concept. It's a project where all the foundational technologies are already owned and operated by one strategic ecosystem. That's something no other company or even country can claim right now.
Of course, there are some huge technical challenges. I mean, come on. But what's so fascinating is how they're already being solved. Take launch costs. Reusable rockets have absolutely slashed prices by over 90%. What about dangerous space radiation? Well, advanced shielding is already being developed by NASA and SpaceX. And latency, that data lag? Laser-based communication is actually proving it can outperform fiber optics, simply because light travels faster through the vacuum of space than through glass. One by one, the barriers are falling.
So let's just pull back for a second and look at the bigger picture. How do we even begin to frame an idea that seems so, Well, so out there.
You know, history is just filled with ideas that sounded completely ridiculous at first. 20 years ago, the idea that you'd run your entire life from a little glass screen in your pocket? Absurd. 10 years ago, the idea that electric cars would start outselling gasoline cars? So many people thought that was laughable. Every single world-changing technology starts out sounding like a crazy idea.
And that brings us right here to today. All the puzzle pieces are sliding into place. The demand from AI is undeniable, and it's accelerating. The limits of our planet are becoming clearer every day. The advantages of space are massive, and maybe most critically, the core technology to actually make this happen is already here. And this leads to a truly mind-bending conclusion. We've always thought of space as a place for satellites, for communication. But we may be on the verge of a huge shift, where space becomes the place where our information is actually processed, where the thinking happens.
And that leaves us with this one final question. It might just be one of the most important technological questions of our lifetime. And the future it points to, it may be much, much closer than any of us think.